Hello, hello. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Hope this day is treating you well. It's Monday for me. If you're in the future, it may or may not be Monday, but happy Monday or whatever day of the week it is to you. On Friday, we started working on changing the position for each unit, and we actually have like kind of a UI built out for that. And so we're going to keep working on that today. But before we get started, I promised a friend of mine named Mark, who I used to work with, an explanation for something I showed a few weeks ago. So I think I have it set back up how it needed to be. But basically, there was this bug on this range A level here. So let me back up a second. Typically, the ball on each field always starts in the very center of the field, which is sort of like coordinate 0, 0. And on this level, I was working on it, and a follower of mine suggested, like we had the ball right here, and then one of the goal zones is over here on one wing, and the other one is on the other wing. And he was asking me, like, how can you encourage people to use the rest of the field? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. Maybe the ball can start on the beak and you can start down here. And so everybody kind of has to have a skirmish on their way to the ball, and then you have to bring the ball back out and bring it to wing. So I thought that was kind of cool. And so that's the whole point of this level. Still needs some play testing. But anyway, we had never done anything where the ball didn't start in the center. And so I tried to implement it, and it wasn't working. And so then I put in a debug message to try to understand what was happening, and it started working. So so I posted like a short video about this, and a lot of people liked it, and it piqued the curiosity of at least Mark. So here's the explanation. So right now, I'm in this state again where I have the log message in place right here, and it fixes the bug. And so now if I comment this out and rerun this, then the ball should respawn in the center, like what we would expect. Okay, so there it is. So it's spawning in the center instead of the beak. And if I put this message back in, then it'll go back to the beak. Okay, so it's on the beak. So why is this happening? And really, it comes down to side effects, like side effects and getters, side effects and setters. If you've ever dealt with this kind of problem, it's definitely a code smell. I was a little surprised when I found it that I had this in the code, but I can step through it here. So what's interesting is that if you look at this, it says, okay, field.getCenterTile right here. If it equals null, then do the debug message. And then we just call that method again right here to set the tile with the football at the beginning of the play. And so, yeah, there's absolutely no reason why this should change the behavior. But if you dig into this, we have this concept called the custom spawn tile. This is the new thing that we added. And we basically say if this is not null, then use it. And if it is null, then get the default center, which is 0, 0 on the XZ coordinate, okay? So everything is still super confusing, right? We have to keep digging. We're going to get tile. Okay, this is not doing anything super intense. It's generating an index from the given X and Z. It's looking in this thing called tiles, which is a dictionary that takes a three-dimensional integer key and returns a tile. So we look to see for this index here. And if it doesn't contain the key, then we return null. Otherwise, we return the key. So basically what's happening is this custom spawn tile was null the first time. And so it's coming into get tile. And now as soon as we call into this tiles thing, here's our side effect. So we have this thing called setup from flat tile list if needed. This is something I put in a while ago due to like how serialization works. And I've changed how it works since then, so I could probably improve this. But basically, it was easier to serialize a flat list of things, and then after reading it back in from disk, to sort of like rebuild this dictionary. And I'm basically doing a lazy load of this. So I don't actually set up the dictionary until I call it. All right. And this is all like looking very innocuous, but okay, here we go. So I was mentioning side effects earlier. This whole method is called, and it does a ton of stuff the first time I call into that tiles thing. And one of the things that it does that I put in myself is right here. If there's a special flag on the tile that says it's a ball spawn point, then I set up this actual property, this custom spawn tile. So if we back up, the issue is that right here, when we call get center tile the first time, this custom spawn tile has not been set up. And so it's going to just always return the 0, 0 center tile, because we come in here and the first time we call tiles, it's going to go do all of that setup. So after this is called, then custom spawn tile is actually non-null now. So I basically set up a situation here where this method has to be called twice before this will actually return the valid thing that I want. And so I still, like, it's going to be a little bit of a big refactor to actually fix this. But in the meantime, basically what I have to do is call this method before I get custom spawn tile. So I basically have to like guarantee that that little cache is warm before I call it. So this is still not great. It's like not a solution I'm happy with. But if I put this in and then go back to, I think it was here, and remove the log. Sure, that's all compiling. Then this should work. So now it's fixed. So that was the issue. So the lesson learned here is like be super careful. Like ideally, you should never have any side effects in a getter or setter, unless it's some kind of like property changed event or something like that that you can subscribe to. And like for me, in my case, one of the rules I always try to follow is don't try to prematurely optimize. Like wait until you go in and actually do performance measurement before you try to improve the performance of anything. Like I probably didn't even need to do this lazy load thing. And yeah, I'll go back in and refactor that and fix it at some point in time. But yeah, it's a ghost story for you, just in time for Halloween. Don't put side effects in your getters and setters unless you know what you're doing. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me revert all this stuff. And then give me just a moment to get recalibrated here. Cool. So let me give a demo of where we left off the other day. And to do that, I need to back out some of these changes, but we can start in adventure mode. And I think this will just work. It is spooky. Good morning to you, Digital Workbench. How was your weekend? All right, so I lied a little bit the other day. I said I was gonna wait for today to like go any further, and I really have. I didn't implement any new features, but I did do a bunch of cleanup. So the code behind the scenes is a little bit better. But basically, when you're in adventure mode or on the world map, and this is sort of where you'll go in between battles. If you think about like most tactics games, like Fire Emblem, especially the newer Fire Emblems do this especially, but even like Final Fantasy Tactics, or even like something like XCOM as well, you know, you have the stressful, intense battle, and then after the battle, you kind of go back to some hub, and you can think about, you know, you do very calm, relaxing things. Maybe there's story, maybe there's like character interaction, there's like buying and selling items. I don't have all of that in my game. I have to keep the scope pretty low because it's just me building it. But for my game, the thing that you're going to do in between is, you know, like level up your characters, learn new abilities, you know, set up your formations, change your formations, that kind of thing. And so when you're in between battles and you're in this mode, I wanted there to be a way for you to come in and change your position to one of the different 8 positions. And so we got all this working on stream on Friday. And the thing that doesn't work is if I actually click this button to try to change from, say, like a supporter to a thrower, it's not implemented yet. So this is where we'll pick up today. Your weekend was pretty good? Good. Yeah, mine was good too. It was busy. It went quick. Too quick. But I got to play, speaking of Fire Emblem, I played a little bit of slowly working my way through Fire Emblem Engage. And it's really fun. I really enjoy it. There's like so many extras stuff to do. It's pretty interesting. But the battle is, of course, like top notch. It's really good, really good. Oh, and you know, the thing that they did really well, that I want to maybe come back and reevaluate in my game is, forget what they call it, like the time crystal thing, but the rewind stuff. I was surprised at how like confusing that can be when I implemented it, to like know, oh, like which step am I going back to? But in Fire Emblem Engage, it's crystal clear. They did such a good job spelling it all out, like exactly what you're going to rewind the state of your game to. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's been like, I think I've gotten like 4 or 5 hours into it myself. So for the most part, it's been collecting dust, although it's digital dust because it's just like the digital download. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's actually really easy to pick up and play, which is great. And I'm just playing on casual because like I don't have the time to try to like keep everyone alive through the entire thing these days. All right, where did we put in this thing? Adventure game state 407. Alrighty, not implemented, on position change. So we're all the way in the game state, which is good. And I have mechanisms for changing the position, like, or like at least randomizing the position going into a battle or into the adventure mode. But I don't believe it's actually mutable yet. Like, I don't think you can actually change it. Yeah, cool. Yeah. I have gone back and forth on physical. Still, like, definitely more in the realm of digital right now, just because of the convenience and like having just everything, all your games always in one spot is really nice. But as I'm getting more into like making, I have, if it's off screen over here, but if I were to tilt the camera over here, you would see my second desk that I have in my studio office here is just littered with PlayStation 1 games and PlayStation 2 games and like some DS games and old hardware and stuff. I've gotten into like backing up on my old physical retro collection, and that's like a pretty fun hobby unto itself. So like the further I get into that, the more I'm like, oh, maybe I should have gotten like box copies of all my Switch games. The only physical game I own is Breath of the Wild, which was like for launch, because I wasn't sure how all the digital stuff was going to go, and we wanted to play it right away. So Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they always have to like ping some server. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. I always like before we travel, I go through and like launch every single game I might want to play before I put the thing on airplane mode before we get out on the airplane. Yeah, those tactics games are good. I haven't played nearly enough of them, but they all just look so cool. Like I saw one recently that I'd never heard of. I think it's called Vanguard Bandits or something like that. It like looks very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, but it has like very colorful mechs and stuff. It looks really cool. I have like nostalgia for games I never played when I go back and look at that stuff. Great era. All right. Um, Adventure game state. So, here we go. So the game state itself has our model object, which is basically like source of truth for everything. It's called adventure. So this is a thing that actually gets serialized and saved to disk when you like save your game, and it holds your roster, your team information. If you're in the middle of a battle or a match, then it has all that serialized. This is what keeps track of your stats, like in between battles as you level up and stuff like that. Your current abilities, and important to us today, your current positions. So this is the thing that we want to change. And right now, I think I have get position for unit, but I don't have a set position for unit. So I'll probably just expose that. So make this just a void set position for unit. Okay. And this should be pretty straightforward. Unit positions. All right, so we update the position. So like that's pretty easy. And then if I go back to the game state, that was on line 407, right? In here, I can just do adventure dot set position for unit. Oh yeah, this is one of the things I cleaned up the other day after we were on stream. So I just have like a little bit of state being stored here. It's probably cleaner to just have it passed into this on position changed. But in the interest of like getting stuff working first, it's always better to have something working and then improve it. So that should actually update the position. And now, on ability equipped. So when we change an ability, we actually hide the abilities too. So I probably want to hide the positions after I do this. But I'm also going to need some kind of like refresh thing. Yeah, like unit view models, equipped abilities, update. So, oh, this is actually a good opportunity to maybe show something. So, yeah, so I implemented something called a reactive event. I don't know if folks tuning in are familiar with like RX Java, like reactive programming, functional programming, like that. There's like RX Java, RX Swift that's been ported to like almost every language. But the idea is that you work with like signals and observables, and there's like just publishers and consumers all over the place, and it can be a mess. But it's really helpful for things like listening to network requests or button clicks or things like this. Sort of things that like if you think about your architecture, like typically you can think of it as like a hierarchical structure of like things, and maybe there's some things that are coupled and some things that are not. And the way that I kind of visualize observables or RX observables is sort of I guess the nomenclature. but they're sort of like the wires that you can kind of stretch across from anywhere to anywhere in the architecture, and things will basically stay decoupled as long as you have good dependency injection and like wrappers around these things. And so I'm dabbling a little bit with some of that in the architecture for my game. I'm keeping it really basic, but I learned about some kind of cool stuff in C# that I didn't know you could do in implementing this. So I have like a basic reactive event. It has a single event on it called updated. And this is a generic, by the way, you can see the T. But anybody can like subscribe to this updated event to be notified when the value of this thing changes. And then, so this is sort of like the read or the observe part, and then this is the write part. So update, you can also like put anything into this. You can update the current value of this thing, and then any other subscribers will be notified through the event. So it's a real simple interface. One thing I would like to do is actually break apart these two into two separate interfaces so that you can be clear and like have compile time safety that like, here are the producers and here are the consumers. Right now, just for me, it's all in one. So that's like the one kind of wart of it right now. And then here's the concrete implementation of it. And basically you can see this internal event handler. And here's the cool thing that I learned is that C# has, similar to like if you were to have a property with like a getter and setter, like let's just call this, I don't know, like test prop. So you can have, you know, like get and set for this. And I was just talking about don't do side effects, but if you want side effects, this is how you do it. Or if you have like a different backing property that you want to use, right? So similar to like get and set on a property, C# has something called add and remove for events. And what this lets you do is it gives you a callback for when somebody either like adds an event handler or removes an event handler from your C# event, which is really kind of cool. And so in my case, I have this private like backing event, and I'm essentially, whenever somebody subscribes to the publicly exposed event, I am actually like passing that on through to my private internal event that's used to actually invoke the change. And then the other thing I'm doing is like, as soon as you subscribe, then what I'm able to do is send you an event immediately with whatever the current value is. So this eliminates race conditions, because I was having a lot of bugs where it's like, oh, I you know, initialize the value of this property, and then after that somebody subscribed to it, but they never got the callback because I had already set the initial value, right? So if you do something like this, then it acts more like I think it's called a behavior subject in RX, where it's like, or a replay. I think behavior is the one that I'm sort of mimicking, because it only give you the like the current value or the most recent value. It's been a while. It's a little rusty in my head, but yeah. Anyway, it's kind of cool. So I use this a lot all over the code base to basically understand what current values are, and so it can be used. Backing up a second. Let's see here. It can be used here on this view model. I'm using it in for the equipped abilities, but I can also use it for the current position. And then I could have like a subscription on this position when it changes to refresh the UI. So I think I could do that. Let me see where all I'm using this. So show units with abilities. Oh, this is show units with positions. Begin changeability. That's fine. Begin change position. Yeah, that would need to be recalled. So yeah, that's like one approach I could do with this. The other approach is to basically just refresh everything and let it redraw from the beginning. But I think no, that'll work. So let's see if I go to This is the game state. I should have some code in here that, yeah. So this is what builds the view models when the lineup button is clicked. Oh, but it's actually just like indexing into the, where do I initialize unit view models? I have like a single mapping up here. Yeah, so this is where I would need to modify it. Or like I said, like update the current value of it. What would be best? Oops. Oh, so I guess for now, let me do this for now. Let me just do this like the real inefficient way. So basically I'm going to say, let me get the current view model. So yep, this is going to be updating unit.unitID, I think, or just updating unit, maybe. Yep. At the end of this method, I should probably null out the updating unit. Okay, so that's a current view model, and then let me do like an updated view model. And then at the end, I'll reset this. I guess all this can be just like passed through current view model. Oops. This is like a lot of work. I really need to have the reactive approach. I'm just a little nervous implementing that for some reason before I have it working. So what was this? This is player type. Dot team capital. And then get position for dating unit dot unit ID. Okay, let me pull up a variable for this. Oh, nope, I wanted updating unit. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, exactly. I don't. Yeah, that scared me. I'm feeling timid now after that. Digital Workbench is referencing how on Friday I like tried to reuse this utility that I have that generates like all the sprites for the characters to like get the positions going, and it was going great. It was like it all made sense in my head. I was just like a fiend going through the code base, as you know, fixing all the compile errors one after another. Like I wasn't stuck on anything, and I did that for I don't know, probably like 20 minutes or so, and then I got all the way to the end of like updating how I constructed this utility, and I realized it's a mono behavior. And I had tried to make a concrete subclass of a mono behavior generic by adding like a generic type T to it. And like you can't do that and instantiate it. So lesson learned on that one. Next time I go to make something generic, I'm going to make sure that my implementation of it isn't a mono behavior. But one valuable thing came out of that, which is that utility itself uses another utility for like actually managing the textures, and that's not a mono behavior, and I was able to make that generic and reuse it across the two cases. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to repeat of last time, and so trying to focus like when I'm on stream on air to be productive and helpful for like not helpful, but what's the word? Insightful, I guess. Entertaining, and maybe watching me screw up is entertaining. I don't know. But we might try it in a little bit. Let's see if we can get it working first. So we'll do this the old-fashioned way, where we just duplicate the code. And now this is updated. Okay, so we have an updated view model, but the thing that we need now is to like re-show the positions, I think. So do I have... Yeah, right now, so this is actually doing it the reactive way, which is nice, but I think I'm probably gonna have to do it that way, because it's we're getting into this thing where I would need to hide the old UI and then like re-show that UI again. Let's just see what happens if I do that. If I like hide the positions but then show the positions again. What all does this need? Oh no, wait, that's not what I want. Hang on, maybe this is actually gonna work okay. What's the cancel button clicked? Lineup button. This is what I was thinking. So this has a mechanism for just like it destroys everything and it'll just refresh nicely on its own, and it only fades back in if it's not already showing. So I can just recall this. So that's not terrible. It's like not as bad as I thought it would be. And I think this will work. Famous last words. Trend behavior dot is it this one? And then I can just pass in unit view models again. Right? Wait, hang on. There must be some ordering to this. How do I call it? You know, I should just like recall this method, I guess. Because this actually maps the starters, so it keeps it in order. The dictionary is not ordered. So let me just do that for now. Like pretend like the lineup button was just clicked for the again at the end. So if we do this, we actually should see the UI on the right disappear, and then their little icon on the left-hand side should update. And I actually think if we were to start a match, it would actually be updated, which is sort of the goal. That was the goal of the entire stream today, so maybe we're gonna get lucky here. Okay. Let's look at the characters. All right, so let's change Billy from a supporter. What should we change him to? Defender is pretty cool. All right, so if I click this button, aha, so this went away. This says defender, but his icon didn't change. That's okay. Let's go ahead and do next match anyway and see if he's a defender in here. Aha! So close to working. The actual model update worked. Now if I quit, oh, that's awesome. What are these guys doing? What happened? Guys, what are you doing? I think it's just the icon it's not working, and whatever these guys stuck on the screen is. Fun. Wonder when that got introduced. Okay, let's do one thing at a time. So the sprite, it's like the provider for that thing wasn't updated. Let's go to, let's see, I guess that on lineup button clicked. Yeah, it must have when I quit the match. There must be something there that is getting bypassed. I also have like multiple of these um, sprite providers kind of getting passed around now. So I suspect maybe it's related to that, but that was introduced in the adventure part, which should be all cleaned up. Okay, so in here, show units with positions. Unit container transform. Destroy all children. And then here I instantiate the overview from the view model. And this is getting the position from that. Oh, but this unit representation provider in the HUD is probably out of date. Before fixing, is it reproducible? Like the cleanup thing? Yeah, we can try. Here, I'm gonna just make a note to myself of where we were. Because I think this is the first bug right here. This unit representation provider is stale. It's not getting updated based off of the position. So this is like another argument. This is pushing me in the direction of like, make this thing reactive, and then everything that needs to respond to a change, it can react appropriately without having to like refresh the UI whole cloth. So this unit represent fighter is stale. Okay, so yeah, let me see if I can reproduce it. Maybe you're talking about both issues. I don't know. It's worth reproducing both, I guess. Once again, it is October. We have ghosts. Chasing ghosts. All right. So if we change Billy to a defender, this updates appropriately, but not his picture because that representation provider is stale, pretty sure. Now let's do next match. Okay. Has everyone seen the sheep farter ability yet? Oh, sheep farter. Oh, there, yep, look. Can you guys see this on stream? There's only like a pixel. Can I, is there a way for me to zoom? I don't know if you guys can see this. If you look up here, there's 2 rows of pixels and they're purple. So maybe this has been there for a long time and somehow the position is just random. But in any case, it looks like some kind of leak is happening. Yeah, just barely see it, but it's there. And there's something that is not happy. I'm getting like tons of errors. All right, that's a concerning problem, but let's one thing at a time. So this unit representation provider, where does this come from in the HUD? Is it injected? Oh, it's injected. So I could re-inject. But it's probably worthwhile to like try to do this the right way. It might take a little while. So let's find all references for this position in the view model. It's actually not bad. And this is the position provider. So this one doesn't actually need to update. And there's maybe an approach here where I can kind of sneak up on this a little bit and not do the entire thing. So I could leave this property in place and then just add an extra one that's basically just like, hey, the position changed, like refresh whatever you need to. So I wouldn't need to worry about draft for right now. But, oh, interesting. Wait a minute. Why isn't the unit representation provider popping up here? Just using this thing. Yeah, the main thought was that if you fix the one thing and it doesn't show up again, was it fixed or just intermittent? Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So we know that both happen at least some of the time, 2 out of 2 times. So wait, one thing I'm concerned about here is I'm looking through all the places where position is referenced, and unit representation provider is not in the list. So why is that? Because it should have a view model here. Oh, it's because it's all the way down in the behavior itself. So this unit behavior class, you can think of it like the view, the actual visuals of each of the units. And so this actually has a reference to the unit view model. So it could listen to changes on position and rebuild itself. That would be pretty straightforward. But then if there's like cached images back in this representation provider, it would still need to know about it. So I guess it could subscribe as well because it has access to the position. I think this is maybe not that bad. Let's just try it. This will be easier to back out if we need to. So there's some precedent, it looks like, for having this, but let's, so we're gonna add a new reactive event. Position. Just call it current position for now. All right. And then do I ever like hydrate this equipped abilities thing? Yeah, I guess maybe I don't need to do anything with this immediately. All right, but then what I want to do is inside the game state, when I actually change the position, like right after this, actually it's like right after I get the current view model, I want to do current view model dot current position dot update with position. So this will tell anybody that's like curious that the position changed. So that's our publisher. Now we need some consumers. So the first one, oh, and you know what? We are actually going to have to do this anyway because there's a little character on the map too. And so we probably didn't see it, but maybe before I go any further, I'll just confirm this to make sure that I understand this as well. But we probably won't see the little character update on the map either. So let me kind of like spread them out. Okay, so there's Billy. He's in front. I change him to a defender. Changes to a defender here, but you can see his representation on the field. I know it's probably a little bit small. His representation on the field is still that of a supporter. So let's use that as like our test case. So I should be able to go all the way into unit behavior. And I have this unsubscribe thing from unit view model. So at unit view model, I'll do current position minus equals on current position changed or updated, which doesn't exist yet. Do I have a subscribe? I guess it's just like in here. Maybe I'll refactor this into a method. Subscribe. I don't need the view model passed in. Okay, so we'll subscribe here. just copy this for the signature. So on current position updated, this is the new position. All right, and then in here, I have a way, let's see, build model. This isn't gonna work. So this whole thing starts off with like a bunch of objects, and then it destroys everything that it doesn't need for like efficiency. So anything that it could change its body parts to have been destroyed. So I could try to make that mutable, but it's probably better to rebuild it, maybe. Yeah, this is getting into some tricky stuff. I didn't realize how many other problems were going to come up as a result of this. There's been a lot of assumptions made that like things aren't mutable, things don't change, like position doesn't change. Do I want to take this on? I guess if this thing had a reference to a prefab for its own model, then it could just reinstantiate that and swap it out, which might not be too bad. And like I said, I'm gonna have to have this. It's definitely better if this thing can react on its own than having to like go higher up in the architecture and like destroy a bunch of stuff and then like rebuild it. That doesn't sound like what I want to do. So, all right. Let's see, why is this complaining? Did I never actually implement? Oh, because this needs to be dot updated. Okay, so let's go to our unit prefab and we'll pull out like another sub prefab. Okay, so this is like the whole model wrapper thing. You could like everything is in here that any of the classes could need. I'm not using everything in here yet. But this model wrapper, let's see. What am I passing in here? I'm passing in model wrapper as the unit model. So that's probably the thing. I just need to like be able to build a new one of these things. So let's rename this to what do I call it here? Unit model. Let's call it unit model. And then just drag this into prefabs. Okay. So this is now its own like individual prefab. And what I can do is go back to unit behavior. And I can have a unit model prefab specified. Do I have any like assertions in here? Unit model prefab. All right. So make sure that's not null. And then let's do it this way. So let's say, where's my build model method? think I can just call this again. So, okay, so after it's changed, where did that method go? Position updated. I can say old unit model equals unit model. So let's get a reference to that. And then I'm going to say unit model equals instantiate unit model prefab to this transform. I think that's where it's just directly on the, yeah, it's just directly on the transform. The target is going to need to be updated for our pixelator as well. So I can say pixelate behavior.target equals unit model. Update that. So let me actually instantiate it and then like rebuild the model. That should rebuild it and then update the target. And then when all that's done, I can destroy the old unit model. So maybe this will, I don't know if this will like flicker. Oh, I need to do .game object. Wonder if there's any other references to this that I might need to clean up. Oh, build model isn't enough. I need to move all of this stuff into build model, actually. That's kind of curious it's not in there anyway, but all of this texture stuff has to be updated. I need to pass in, let's see, width, height. I need to match animation from new to old. That should just pick up on its own. You might see a stutter, which I'm totally okay with for now. Like getting to a point where it updates, but there's like a little stutter. You know, honestly, that can be fixed with just like making sure you can't see the units behind. Like I could make the menu opaque or something. But all the animation should carry through. They're all like attached to the same rig, so it should just work. Okay, that's why this stuff is a little interesting. I might need to store off this data. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be seamless. Okay, so these are all values for the texture, like the dynamic texture updating for like different team colors and skin tones and stuff like that. I'll just add a comment here of that effect. A dust cloud. I don't hate that. That would be pretty fun, actually. This is going to increase the memory consumption a little bit. Oh, wow. Look at that autocomplete. That was nice. And then in here, it just like has references to all that stuff. So that should actually work okay. Any other references I need to know about? Unit model, where is this? Hang on, I need to like refresh this. Find all references. Okay. Update rotation. Oh, the rotation. The rotation probably needs to be updated. Okay, rotation needs to be updated. So I can do that by saying that it just equals the old unit model. Yeah. Okay, these are my new references. This is for animation, that's fine. I think the rest of these are probably okay. Although, once again, it's like out of date already. It's easier to see this way. Okay, next timing, good. This is all fine. More profile capture. Yeah, so we'll have to recapture the profile too. But this should actually work now. I think this will actually update the character on the field, so let's try it. Ah, see? Okay, this is what I meant. Like, I've referenced this several times on the stream, but I have all these assertions. That's for exactly this reason, because I forgot to actually set up the little reference to my prefab. So that's why I do that. Unit model prefab goes right here. Okay, let's try that again. Uh-oh, something is still null. On destroy. Why is this being called? This is in the unit representation provider. Why is this being destroyed? There's something going on in unit behavior. Does it like reference it? Let's see. This should all be fine. This. Oh, is this getting called on launch? Maybe. This should not be getting called, but I wonder if it is. And then it's like destroying something that it shouldn't be destroying. That's my hunch. Yeah, ghost stories. Okay, so it's that reactive event is getting set up when we subscribe. This is like a feature I talked about earlier. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for stopping by again, Digital Workbench. It's always good to see you. Hope the rest of your day goes great. And usually how these things go when I'm stuck is you leave the stream, and then 5 minutes later I fix it. So hoping for that. Good luck to keep continuing. But no, thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. And yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not, or very likely not streaming on Friday. I might stream on Wednesday. So Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. So I'll see you when I see you. All right. Yeah, so we don't want this destroyed yet. I guess let me look at this log again and see. Where it's like getting set up. Oh, it's in this inject when we actually, this goes to actually create the prefabs, which is going to create a unit behavior, which is going to set up the subscription. So that's interesting. Yeah, I need to think this through. I guess it's a little concerning that just destroying the object breaks this thing. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Oh, base colors. So is this getting called before? Oh, that's why. This is getting called before I've set everything up. So let me move the subscribe down to the bottom. I think this is going to be a little inefficient because it's going to build the model twice. But I think it might avoid this issue here. Let's see. Cool. Oh, look at these guys. There's like gray guys hanging out there. Do they move? No. Ah, the animator has been destroyed. So I need to update the animator in the prefab. Okay. But also these guys look weird. So let me see here. We do animator equals, let's say unit model dot just the first child, get child dot get component, like that. Okay, so they're actually moving now. They are all gray. And they have tons of stuff on them. They look kind of cool. Yeah, so this has not deleted all the rest of the stuff. And it's hard to tell if the texturing has taken hold or not. But why is this getting the container from the animator? I just happened to see that. That's really weird. Oh, I see. I need to destroy the old game object before I rebuild the model. That's at least part of it. That's not all of it. Why is that still there? Okay. And then build. This is going through transform. I mean, animator actually should be updated by this point, right? Where did I update the animator? Did I do that at the end here? Oh, that's not the right spot to do that. I don't know if that's what's going on, but that needs to be done like up here, basically like right after I update it. See if that makes a difference. Please make a difference. Wow. I'm missing something. Okay. I mean, that's still the right change. So what all does build model do? It goes through the transform. Maybe this should just be like unit model dot transform. That's head container. Body container. I don't know why that's going to animator dot transform. Let me look at the prefab, make sure that even makes sense. I mean, it must be working because it was working a second ago. Or, I mean, it like works typically. Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because it's trying to go through and find all these other body types and destroy those. So that works. Oh, I need to basically redo those. Actually, I shouldn't need to redo the textures. I don't think. The textures should all be the same no matter what. So that's okay. Oh, but the render is not being updated. That's why. That's at least why it's gray. So if I always do that, that should at least fix that problem. And then let's see if this made a difference with the heads, I guess. Ah, perfect. Okay. All right. Cool. We're in business now. So now if I change Billy, try this again, to defender, he stops. It's closer. And he's like doing an idle animation. All right. That is progress. So let's go to back to the top here, adventure game state. Again, change position. Changed it, and then on position changed. Set position for unit. My positions. Current view model. Oh, I didn't actually like set the position either. So I guess one way I could do that kind of Let's see, does this subscribe to equipped abilities? I'm just going to make this mutable for now. Oh, it's not mutable in the interface. I'm going to come back and clean that up. I promise. What? Set isn't accessible. I just made it accessible. Oh, just position. Oh, it didn't work. It didn't work. All right, hang on. I need a quick break, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back. There I am. Okay. We're standing now. Standing might help me solve this problem, maybe. Seems like there's going to be a lot of problems I have to solve. I didn't realize changing the position was going to be so pervasive for everything, but it makes sense. So that guy is just standing there. Let me drill into him. So he's there. Unit representation provider prefab. All right. So we've updated the position. But we didn't update the view model. I don't think we're even dealing with any of this stuff yet. Let me just, I don't think that impacts anything. I just want to try to minimize changes and look at this like one thing at a time. All right. And so when the position is updated, we should be rebuilding this. Oh, the unit view model's head type and stuff isn't changing. So you know what I need is instead of a public setter, I need an actual full-blown update method that's going to go through and redo all of this stuff. Because their head type and body type and everything is all based on their position. So this needs to do more work in the view model. Okay, so first thing is it's going to update the position. We should have like a private set. And it's capital P. Okay, so update the position. And then we don't need to update hair color, eye color, or skin color. But we do need to update the head and body type. So let's refactor this. Update head and body type. Let's have this based off of the current position. Okay. And then we'll update that stuff here. And then maybe this is even responsible for publishing that update. Did we jinx it? Yep, it didn't work. It's still broken. It's just there's more. There's just more. The rabbit hole just goes a little bit deeper, but it all at least makes sense. It's all stuff that like needs to get done. So. But I think we're back on the right path. So. All right, let's try this. I think this is going to actually update the model now appropriately, but I think it's going to be doing the idle animation instead of the walking animation. I have no idea what code. It's been years. I have no idea what code actually triggers that like walking in place animation. So we'll have to find that. Aha! There we go. Okay, so that was it. So the issue there is that basically like there's a separate enum that represents the body type and the head type, and those are generated from the position when we create the unit via model. So we had to refresh those before rebuilding the actual model. So now he looks right here, but he's not moving. So let's see where we do that. That must be in the unit behavior somewhere. It's not in start. Oh, this is gonna break too. Glad I saw that. That's totally gonna break. That would basically mean that they can't hold the football anymore. Let's put this at the end here, I guess. Is it even playing the idle? It is playing the idle, I think. At least it was before. We can triple check it. There was at least one reference to the animator I had to clean up. Forget if you were here for that or not. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's not even playing the idle anymore. Oh, it's hard to tell. Maybe I can move. You just blinked. Oh, this is broken. Okay. Yeah, he's idle. It's just a little hard to tell. And zoom in so you can see him moving. Ever so slightly, but you can see the pixels. So what triggers that? Maybe it's not triggered from code. I mean, it's just this anime. Yeah, like I don't see anything there. If I go to the animator, I mean, the idle state is like the entry state. Can I move around in here? How do I do that? Ah, there we go. It is the entry state, so that makes sense. So there must be something in the normal case that changes it. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. It's especially on stream, I'm sure. It was pretty obvious to me, but I'm sure it didn't come across on stream. So I guess let's just look through animator. Maybe it's this on unit status updated. Yeah, Damage taken, throw, freeze. Start walking, stop walking. Oh, maybe it's this. It's this. Why is this here? I have to explicitly tell it to start walking. What variables are tied to the animator? Basically, I'm not sure what you mean by variables, but the animator, it's like this component in Unity. And so these are all just like different clips of different animations that it can like go between, like casting or spinning or running or hurried up or slowed down or whatever. And so and then these clips reference like the entire rig of like the underlying 3D model. But the issue is that I wasn't calling that start walking, like the start walking is called currently by the representation provider. Which is just a little strange. So, which I guess like this thing can update too. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it can do that. I don't think I have any variables attached to it. I'm just like explicitly, or well, if I do, I guess I do, like these variables is probably what you're referring to. Like I have these bools. And so this is the one that controls whether it's like moving in place. But I'm just not calling it. So I'm just trying to think through where it makes sense to call it. Because right now it's just kind of the default. It's actually like the default state. And I had this other state, the draft state, where I start them in idle, and then once you've drafted them, then they start walking. So I want to keep that. This class is going to need to subscribe to changes on the position as well on the view model. And so it might make sense for this to do that. But maybe I'm getting there. I think what you're saying is that I probably need to copy over the current state of the old animator to the new animator. So that's a good idea. This is gnarly though. All this stuff I'm having to bring over. It's like really not awesome. But here's the old so let me get the old animator, I guess, too. And then is there a way for me to like copy the current state? Like, I mean, I can go through every bool and copy it over. But is there like parameters? Is that what those are called? Because if I could just generically copy those over, then that's fine. Is this taking a parameter name? Oh yeah, the parameter ID. Okay, let's try this. This might work. Parameter count. An animator. Or just copy the animator itself. I don't think I can do that. So like it is actually, it's copied here from the prefab. And the issue is that I need the prefab because it has like the root structure. Oh, is there a way for me to like, let's see, get parameter? Index. What does this return? Animation controller parameter. I don't know if there's a way for me to actually generically get the name. Yeah. It doesn't look like there's a way for me to do this. Like what I'm wanting to generically. But you know what I can do for now is just say animator.set bool walking bool to old animator dot get bool walking bool, and this will actually fix it for the case that we need. I don't plan on being able to change positions at any other time really, where they would like be in the middle of any other kind of animation. Oh, I'm zoomed in. Okay. So he's working now. So now we just need it to update in the UI there. So I had part of that kind of in place. Enter game state, and I copied it out, or commented it out. I don't think I want to do this though anymore. I don't want to create a new. I want to leave that commented out. We don't want a new unit view model. We want whatever needs to react to the position. So the other thing I think was the unit representation provider, right? And now this is going to get interesting. So we don't, the behaviors are going to stay the same, but the sprites are not. And then these sprites, isn't this where I have yeah, this texture atlas manager. All right, let's just kind of start working it through. So for each view model in the view models, and I'm going to need to store those. So let me store them off. Just do a read-only list of unit view model, unit view models. Just set it here, this unit view models equals unit view models. And then within each one, I need to subscribe to that position updated. Okay. Let's put that down here. This is just position. It's a void. Okay. And then we're going to need to unsubscribe in onDestroy. Lifecycle management. Cool. So, and then when this is called, what do we need to do? We need to update the sprite. I wonder, for now, we could just rebuild all of the textures, which would amount to calling this right here, and then calling build sprites again. This will basically just refresh all of them. Let's see if that works. I did not like something. It's because this is being called right away. So I'll just say like if large profile sprites doesn't equal null, return. But really, maybe like using a reactive event is maybe not the right thing for this. Maybe you just want like a traditional event that says, hey, the position was updated. Still is not happy. Oh, whoops, I meant if it equals null. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of cleanup I need to do on this code. All right. They all kind of moved though. And there's definitely like, I caught him when he's blinking. She's blinking right here, Erin, blinking. So it's kind of working. I don't quite understand why there's like a bunch of garbage pixels behind. Only on the one that I'm changing. Like if I change her, yeah, same thing. Even though all of them are kind of getting updated. That's weird. What all is getting baked into the sprite? Let's see. There's like a prepare for profile capture. I wonder if No, this all looks right. Yeah, this all looks right. So let's see. Destroy this destroys all the old sprites. So I don't think I have any issues there. I think what's happening is that when I build a new sprite, it's like in a state where, oh, this is the issue. I need the unit to finish rebuilding first, and then it's safe to take the picture. So it's like a timing issue. Jeez. Maybe it would have been better to just rebuild everything. Maybe I should, like, when you change position, maybe you should just like be in an entirely different state of the game, and I just need to rebuild the entire adventure after the fact. I really don't want that though. That's not going to be smooth. Oh boy. Okay. How do I want to do this? So basically I update the position once here. Yeah, I need to like update the position, and then maybe I need to explicitly tell, do I have access to the presentation provider? I do. Maybe I need to explicitly tell it to like refresh unit. What does this look like? Is this better? I think the view model is going to be updated. Is it as simple as that? I don't even need, I can just say refresh sprites. But I could pass in the unit and make it a little bit more efficient. Yeah, there we go. This should not be compiling. Okay, let's try something like this. Also might need to change, there's a destroy that's happening inside unit behavior. That might need to be a destroy immediate. Yeah, you can still see the old unit there. Try doing destroy immediate. There we go. That was it. So I think like both issues would have got us. I think we were just getting lucky because there was no guarantee order of like when those subscriptions would be handled. Now the only issue is that this is just kind of capturing them at any state, and so Hmm. We do have this callback inside unit behavior for on prepare, or like, what is it, like prepare before before profile capture. So this is where it's like we set up their Euler angles. Yeah, just a second. All right, so we set up their Euler angles and stuff like that. Let's see, where were we? So ideally we would like pause the animation and stuff too. And like make sure they're not blinking at the very least. So I think what I'll do is like stop blinking. This doesn't actually do what I want though. I'm gonna do stop blinking. And then I'll start blinking again. I could build out a temp model. I was wondering that. I wonder how inefficient that would be. It's probably not bad. Since you suggested it, let's try it. Let's try it. Because I have code right here that like builds the unit behavior like this. So yeah, instead of getting this, I can actually just like build a temporary one and then destroy it. So let me do something just to see if this works. Again, probably heard me say that a lot on the stream today. Just get it working. Okay. Don't need that stuff. It's actually like, let's iterate through the view models, right? It's better. Iterate through the view models. If you go that route, might want to add a camera layer flag to prevent it from showing potentially with normal camera. Yeah, so I already have a dedicated camera in here for this. And I have I don't think it's active right now, but I have at times like set layer flag so it'll only render the thing. But a simpler solution right now is to just move them to like a coordinate like -100, -100, -100 that I know is never on screen. And it seems to work. In here, this might have a, let's see, am I doing anything with layers? I don't think I am, but I have done that in the past, and it does work well. Okay, instantiate unit prefab, and then use this behavior. And then this is going to be unit via model dot unit. And then I can destroy the behavior object immediately after. Okay, let's try that. I don't think this will be too slow. I only ever do like eight or so of these at a time on any of this stuff. Nice. Yep, good suggestion. That seems like it works fine. This is cool. I could definitely make all this stuff more efficient. But now, okay, so Billy's a game breaker, Aaron's a thrower. And then, I should have like, we should see them all changing here. Yeah. Change, no, it's good to have a balancer. Striker, this is a pretty good team. Yeah, let's change this guy to caster. Change Billy to a caster. Okay, and now I can go into abilities. And like, I don't have any restrictions in place right now. But like, I can match up, you know, their abilities this way. And then do a match. Hey, this is pretty cool. It's all working. All right. Bare bones, very bare bones. Let's see. I wouldn't picture it being too slow unless you are doing something horribly wrong. You have too much faith in me. For me, it's really like I don't know. I just haven't. I'm not as experienced with like actually shipping production Unity code to know how it behaves across devices and all that kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, usually like things aren't as overhead intensive as you think, aside from like actually trying to get stuff to render at 60 frames a second and like and like that range A level I'm doing a bunch of particle color switches on the CPU right now instead of GPU, and so it's like it works fine on my laptop, but if I were to put it on a low-end phone or something like that, it would not be happy, so I need to move that over. Those are like the things usually that make a bigger difference. All right, I'm just gonna play for a few minutes to wrap up the stream with my little custom team I built here. Let's see what we can do. And then it's lunchtime. Oh, hey, this is actually the song for this level that just came on in the background. That works well. Okay, what do we have here? So, okay, we can try out our frost ability. It needs to get a little closer. I really like how that animation turned out. It looks pretty good. Okay. We only have a 35% chance to hit from here. I think it's our only option. Yeah, just gonna go for it. I missed. I need to add health bars. All right. This is an interesting like risk reward that I think about a lot in the game. So if I move to this character's front, I won't have as high of a chance of hitting them and therefore causing a fumble, but it'll be a little bit harder for him to get to the goal. So I kind of debate back and forth. Since this guy is not going to hit for much anyway, I might as well just try from the front. Yeah. Okay, let's get behind. No fumble. It's starting to slow down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pause this before it gets any worse and breaks the stream. Cool. So thanks for tuning in. There's definitely some like memory issue happening, or just CPU load. Hopefully the stream is okay. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I think that was a productive stream. I'll probably work quite a bit this week on getting that a lot more cleaned up and efficient, and more consistent. But it's starting to feel like a game. And coming soon, I need to actually start implementing some missions, like predefined setups and matches to play through. So we'll probably get into that soon. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow if you haven't yet. And hope you have a good rest of your day. I will see you later this week. Probably be either Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, take care, everyone.